Attention denizens of planet Earth.
Broadcasting from Carbondale in Southern Illinois' premier comic shop. And now your host, superlative shaman of comic book knowledge, Dan Brown. Flash the match signal in case of emergency for your host with the most on his mind, Matt Morton. Watch out, criminals. There's nothing funny to him about truth, justice, and the American way. It's Commander Harris himself, Scott Reed. And tuning in from the far reaches of no man's land, the mad scientist dream leader, Mike Ho. This is Campus Comics Cast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Campus Comics Cast. This is our monthly review of this month's previews. We are recording this on December the 10th, and unfortunately, you don't have an awful lot of time. This catalog is due, any orders are due back to Mike a week from today, as far as you'll hear it, on December 18th. So we're going to do like we always do, go through DC, then Marvel, then the big book. And if you see anything that you want, anything that maybe you think Mike isn't going to stock otherwise, especially special order kind of things, just pop in and let him know or holler at him on the Facebook page, and he can get that taken care of for you. So I'm Matt Martin, and joining me as always is
Dan Brown
and Scott Reed.
There we are. All right, so we're going to get rolling right into the DC book.
DC page 1, Flash 750 joins Wonder Woman and, well, I guess Superman and Batman with the decades covers that we're going to get.
I did think going back to legacy numbering, because there was something. I'm going to have to start looking at every other book and figuring out what adds up to something, right?
Yeah.
I wondered about that with Grant Morrison's Green Lantern. Is that why we did 12, then 3, then 12, or whatever we're going to do in the second season? And I'm trying to figure out how all the numbers would add up. Is there a Green Lantern 750,
750 in the near future?
Right.
Yeah.
Probably there is.
Well, and I think somebody did that for Action, and it actually should have been a higher number. And of course, if you take in the account for the annuals and all that type of stuff, then it really throws it off.
Who counts annuals for the regular run?
Well, right, but
Marvel probably once or twice.
Well, yeah. I don't think they counted the zero issues either. Whenever they were coming up with the Action 1000,
They shouldn't.
Yeah. So
there was when Marvel got on that train to begin with, they used to do that. Here's how our math worked out, and I appreciated the effort. But honestly, it made the whole thing sillier because what they put in and what they counted out, I get that you had to massage these numbers to get the landmark.
Yeah, especially when you already had another book a few years ago called Journey into Mystery that continued the numbering, and then they did that with Amazing Fantasy years later. And all that nonsense.
They're okay, so here's how we've retroactively added these together. So in a way, I want to know how they arrived at 750 for Flash. But maybe I don't. Maybe I'm probably just as happy with that.
So do we need to find out how Deadpool got to 1,000 too?
No.
Deadpool broke a fourth wall.
There we go.
1,000,
Marvel
that's all
math.
we needed.
But one of the cool variants is the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez variant for the 1970s for Flash 750. That's kind of cool.
Are you sure?
Well,
Because we don't show any of them in the
catalog. That's true too. But the idea, it's the
right.
idea behind it.
No, I like all these artists they've
yeah.
got here.
I think no, the Wonder Woman ones were up on Twitter.
Yeah.
I just saw the Wonder Woman.
But I really like the standard Howard Porter cover that we're getting with it.
Yep.
So I'll get that all day.
Of course, when I glanced at that cover first, I thought, "Why is the Flash fighting Constantine?"
Oh yeah, it does kind of look like that.
I
just looked at the top. He didn't have the whole trench coat,
Yeah,
but I just saw the
they
top
should have
of
changed
it.
the colors.
Yeah.
You were totally right. That really
Yeah, like the red tie and it's a brown coat.
It was just
brown jacket.
I guess they wanted the tie to look like a lightning bolt or something as the effect.
You can make it yellow then.
I'm just
There you
saying,
go, yeah.
The issue isn't out yet. Maybe he does fight Constantine.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, it's going to be an oversized
That'd be
issue.
a hell of a swerve.
So yeah, they got a couple of extra pages there. They could throw something in.
So right after that, we have a one-shot.
Yeah, spoiler if you haven't heard, right?
If you haven't heard, I don't know what to do with you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So we're getting Batman Pennyworth R.I.P. #1.
I'm a little baffled, as great as this cover is, that Batman is literally face palming. And it's,
Yeah.
he's a little put out by this too.
Right.
I can't freaking believe they killed
Hopefully
Alfred.
they're bringing in a new outsider with this.
So should we start a pool now on how long it takes before Alfred gets back to the DC universe?
I must say, whenever the 5G stuff starts up,
Okay.
I would say whenever
Yeah.
it's over, they'll bring Alfred back when they de-age Bruce and put him back in the cape and cowl. That'd be my guess.
there's too many references to a coming crisis and everything for there not to be a big reboot coming.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the rumor is that's the 5G
Right.
push. So we'll see. I saw some rumors about that today. We'll talk about it after the show.
With Young Animal basically going away, and some of the Wonder Comics books leaving, ending that we'll talk about later. We're getting a new Amethyst series.
Yeah.
So we have number 1 in the catalog here of 6. So it's a mini series, but feels like maybe they're still doing some stuff with Wonder Comics.
Yeah.
We'll see. Amy Reeder on it. So if you're going to have somebody on Amethyst, that's a good pick.
But why that needs to be a different label, who knows?
Yeah.
She's been part of the regular DC universe before, so
They brought the character back in Young Justice. I think that's the logic. But you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have anything
And I
to
feel
do
like you need to incorporate this stuff better too,
Yeah,
with these kind of outline properties. And again, we'll talk about that later with Young Justice and the
Young
catalog.
Animal made a lot more sense when Gerard Way was directly or at least closely indirectly involved in all the Young Animal books, but he's not anymore. In which case, then the imprint doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a pop-up imprint,
Right.
guided by him.
Wonder Comics was supposed to be this Bendis and hand-picked Bendis people,
Yeah.
and I find it hard to believe that he handpicked Amy Reeder to do an Amethyst mini a year into the. There's no way that's right. They're just doing this because she was in Young Justice, and that's it. Not that there's anything wrong with Amy Reeder. Not that there's anything wrong with Amethyst. Amethyst. It's kind of an odd slap of the label. Deceased.
Yeah.
More Deceased.
Unkillables.
Did you like Deceased?
I did like Deceased.
I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
It was DC Zombies to an extent.
Yep. It was gritty as hell, though.
Yeah, it was. I like, spoilers for Deceased.
Lots of people die.
A lot of people die. I like the, Green Canary that we got out of it. I thought it was a cool kind of change. But it's like this is a one shot. We're getting kind of telling the villain story while everything was going on.
Oh no, this is the mini.
Are you sure? I thought this was a one shot.
One of 3.
Oh, okay. Well, when I heard it announced, I thought it was a one shot. So cool. We're getting 3 issues of this.
What were the villains doing while the heroes were losing?
We're going
basically.
crazy.
Yep. And I think at least the stuff online the Tom Taylor made it seem like this carries on after the heroes escape. Like this is at least partially. This is what the hell's life like on Earth now that
I
they
feel
took
like
off.
it's very good.
Right. I don't think it's going to have a happy ending at the end of the mini.
Well, Deceased doesn't either. So.
No. I mean, it has like a mildly more optimistic ending than the rest of the.
Yeah, right.
But it does not end well.
So, and again, another good Howard Porter cover. So get that.
And then
Page
Green
9.
Lantern's back. Like I said,
Page 9. Grant Morrison, another second season or second.
You've given up on this, right?
Yeah.
And did you read it?
I only read the first issue. So
I feel like I can't win with this book because for every issue that I read that I think is just garbage, the next one I'll read and I'll be like, man, this is friggin' great. Like there's a brilliant issue and then there's a terrible issue, and they seem to just sort of bounce back and forth. And I like Green Lantern Black Stars way more than I thought that I was going to. And so I'm oddly excited about having it come back, but I know I'm just going to get let down.
Right.
And I'm going to be like, oh, this is terrible. Why did I buy this?
Page 10, we've got Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti returning to Harley Quinn on Black Label. So that was one of those books where it was part of the regular DC line before, and like I'd always had, there are a lot of young girls who are really, really into Harley Quinn, and whenever they come up and they're wanting to buy this book, and you're like, they probably really shouldn't be reading this book, even though there's nothing on it that says that they shouldn't. Right. So at least this one they're doing as Black Label, and
hopefully going a little further with it. Then if they're putting that label on it, you might as well.
They might as well, right? But the thing about it is, really, it probably would have been classified in my mind is because there was a lot of innuendo in that series with Conner and Palmiotti.
And Amanda Conner, whose art I love, and this is in no way a rag against Amanda Conner, somehow manages to make the most salacious, cartoony-looking art that's technically not inappropriate, but yeah.
Well, I've told this story before, but I got a sketch from her at Metropolis like maybe 2 years ago when she was down there, and she wasn't really wanting to do a sketch. So I figured, well, I'll ask her to do something in her wheelhouse, so that way it'll be a quick one for her. So I said Harley Quinn or Power Girl will be fine. She's like, oh, I'll do Power Girl. The key to drawing Power Girl is to draw her head the same size as her breasts, and it's like I didn't just unsolicited,
Right.
It's just,
she saw you. She knows what the deal is, Scott.
She was like, I'm gonna let this middle-aged pervert have his boob sketch.
So coming from Black Label, it's 4 issues and it's bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly, yeah.
Why? I'm sure they're wanting to crank this out by the time the movie comes out.
Right.
But it's like, man, just plan ahead a little bit with some of this stuff.
Well, I mean that. Would,
And now, like, what is it, Harleen is getting pushed back and stuff like that. It's like, let's try to keep something on schedule here.
I guess I wasn't. I guess that's one of those things. Is it bi-monthly? Is it even twice a month, or
That
does
means
that
every
mean
other
every
month.
every
Bi-weekly is twice a
Yeah,
month.
there we
Or-
go. All
or
right.
semi-monthly is
So,
twice
yeah.
a month. Bi-weekly is
Yeah.
every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Well, I just it's regular size. However, I guess they've got other stuff that they're working on, so I guess it will help keep it on schedule. So.
Yeah.
Well, and this is just a supplemental Harley book anyway. It's not the main Harley
No.
book. So who cares if it's every other month? So
I got 2 snarky comments from DC, and the first one is on
From
12.
or about?
From the DC catalog. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, from this catalog. The first one is, did you read Event Leviathan?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Eh.
Right. You?
no, I
Okay,
didn't even read it.
Event Leviathan was such a the crowd goes mild
Yeah.
event. I just, if Bendis weren't doing it, and if this wasn't his baby, there's no chance in hell this gets a one-shot to continue this on. This gets buried like Orpheus Rising from
Right,
Batman way back
yeah.
when, right? Like a thing that happened, you're like, anybody? No? All right, cool. Never talk about it ever again.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is seriously going to keep getting made. Not that I didn't think the plot was interesting, but no one seemed to care, and it was not well received. So, okay, but
Again, good on paper probably, but not the printed paper.
it wasn't. I mean this in a nice way. Too Bendis-y.
Yeah. After that, we've got this month's facsimile editions that DC's doing. We're getting Flash 123, the first meeting of Barry Allen and Jay Garrick, Earth 1, Earth 2 Flashes.
2 worlds.
Which I really want to pick up now because I've got that big Crisis hardcover box set they came out with.
Oh yeah, I can't.
And that's not
that's
in
what
there.
you talked about. That's not in there. That's
yeah,
so insane.
So, and then we're getting the Green Lantern #1 facsimile edition where he's fighting the giant puppet.
Have they done a Showcase 22 facsimile? If you're going to do one, why not do
Yeah.
Showcase 22? That's what I don't understand. I don't think that they've done a Showcase 22 facsimile, so that's really what they should have done instead of Green Lantern 1.
For the audience, and also maybe Matt.
Yeah.
Remind me what Showcase.
But what's the
22
first
is.
Right. Silver Age Green Lantern?
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
all right.
Or,
I
no,
think-
wait. Yeah, Showcase 22. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
can
think
never
they did
remember when that
I think they
reads
did a Millennium edition
Oh, well, they
of it
did.
back in
Oh,
the day.
they did do a Millennium
But
edition.
yeah.
But they probably
we
did a
have those.
Millennium edition
I could
of this
definitely
too.
I could definitely see that before Green Lantern #1.
Yeah, I mean,
You
that's what I
Especially
was
because Green
thinking.
Lantern #1 has such a creepy ass cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of that Silver Age tradition of they're not looking at the reader. They hear it, which you don't see that anymore.
That's true.
But again, this of the time.
Well, I forgot about
My next
this
thing's on
when
20,
I said it,
so.
but my next thing is my second snarky thing,
Yeah.
which is Action. That to tie in with, if you needed to know how indifferent the reaction to Year of the Villain is, it is that the sales on Action have not gone up at all. And Action is effectively a de facto tie-in to the meta story of DC every single month, and no one cares. Sales have not moved a bit. Like you look at what Justice League sells, which is Scott Snyder, and that's like the flagship for the overall Year of the Villain stuff. That sells, and it sells like twice as many copies here as Action. No one budged. I think in a weird way, putting Bendis on both Action and Superman was a mistake because it makes people think you have to buy both books because
Right.
it's part of a. But they're two completely different stories.
Right.
And Action is the one that is appropriately the more action-oriented one. It's the one that is like the big DC meta story. Superman's just been sort of stories about Superman. It's where he's given up his secret identity this week. It's sort of like this to me is the canary in the coal mine. If no one's buying Action, which is super tied to the overall
Right.
plot, the plot's not being received real well. And I'm pretty indifferent, to be honest, to the Year of the Villain stuff. I think it's a bit overwrought. Like,
I've liked the one shots.
yeah, no, the Year of the Villain one shots have been pretty good, but I mean, I'm talking about like the
yeah.
actual overall plot,
Even
which
the
is
Joker
just
one-shot?
the bad guys all decide to be bad.
Right.
Like, it feels like a Super Friends episode where let's all be evil,
Well,
gang.
it's also we're ramping up the bad guys with this guy making a deal with them.
Yes.
That was called Underworld Unleashed back in the 90s.
Everything in it is a thing that's been done somewhere else.
Yeah.
Page 20, Aquaman 57. So apparently we're going to get the birth of an Aqua baby. So this could be one of those moments that'll be forgotten about a year from now.
That
or,
always turns out well.
Yeah, or it'll be a major change for the character.
Oh yeah.
So one
or
of
do
the
they
two.
do they want to tell that story again
what I'm
in
saying.
continuity?
Yeah.
You know.
My next thing's not till page like 82, so you guys can go
Well,
for
on
a
page
while.
28, we've got Batman Superman #7. And this issue's art is by Nick Darrington, who was doing the Batman Giant, aka Batman Universe book. And we got a really nice cover here with Batman and Superman under the glass of Kandor with a proportionally gigantic-looking General Zod and Ra's al Ghul staring him down. So, probably some fun stuff in that one.
It'll be boring.
On 32, we've got Flash Forward number 6, so wrapping up this series with Wally West.
Not a minute too soon.
Hopefully having a better status quo for him at the end of this book. We'll see.
Let me tell you something. I feel the same way about Wally West that I did years ago when the Star Wars Expanded Universe killed Chewbacca off. And everybody went on and on about how could they do this to him.
Right.
They killed him because they didn't have anything else to do with him.
Right.
That's why he's dead. And I love Chewie. Chewie's one of my, if not my favorite, one of my favorite Star Wars characters. But I remember thinking, I couldn't write a Chewbacca story. What do you got? Wally's boring, and he's boring with Barry. I don't know that he's getting a better status quo because what's the option? You want to shoot him in the head and have him change his name to Rick? Like he's going to start going like Walter West.
Well, see, this is the thing. It's a systemic problem with those legacy characters.
Well, the systemic problem is that you can't describe any of the Teen Titans without using the words. If I tell you can't say good and does the right thing, you can't describe the Teen Titans. They're all boring. They're just knockoffs of characters who were also largely just your dad with superpowers, like Barry. They had to, like, Hal's interesting because Hal's a jerk, and also he went evil and killed a bunch of people. But like Barry's always been sort of. Barry and Dick Grayson and Wally are all this sort of like gee whiz do-gooder type, and you don't need that many gee whiz do-gooder types. So, like, they gave Arsenal a drug problem and some and a ninja child. Yeah, okay, but like nothing substantial ever happens to Dick or Wally or Barry. Everything there's like Teflon. Everything just floats right off.
But I'm saying when you've brought back Barry. There's nothing for Wally to do.
Agreed, but
you wrote yourself into a corner. You can't grow that character.
The real problem is that what they did was they turned Wally into Barry after they killed Barry.
Yeah, and then when Barry came back, I'm
like,
taking your.
We have two of him now. Don't
and now
we?
I'm like, I'm taking your suit and your catchphrase because I'm back.
It's the same thing that happened to Tim. Tim Drake's had no role in Batman.
Oh yeah.
Since they created Damian, Tim has been useless.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do with him, and they should have killed him off if that's what it was. And I love Tim. Tim is my Robin, quote unquote. But I mean, how many Robins do you need?
Yeah,
evidently 4. And
unless you have some better concept for them all, you know what I mean.
47. I thought Mad got canceled.
They're kind of filling it out with.
Okay, I think these are
to honor the subscription.
Are they reprint issues?
They had some stock. We're probably getting into the reprint material by now.
I think so too.
Because they had so much new material left to go, and then they were going to be reprints to finish out the subscription obligations. But I know I did see a thing online, and I don't think this happened, but when they announced all this, a bunch of cartoonists were like, hey, I did that stock story that never got published. Now would be a good time to do that.
Yeah. Also, they already got paid for
it. Well, I think they'd gotten paid for them, too. It's just, file stories are sitting around.
Just to bounce back a couple pages, did you buy Justice League, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that Vendetti is who's taking over?
I did.
I'm pretty happy about that.
I'm kind of burned out on Justice League at this point with Snyder.
I mean, I'm really ready for Snyder to go. I was happier. I was hoping that Snyder was going to leave and leave Tynion on it, and now they're both leaving.
Yeah.
But they're getting replaced by Vendetti, who is the Hawkman guy for
right.
me and you at this point. But for me, he's also the Exo Man of War guy. But I think it's good. I mean, I just want. Just give me fun superhero stuff instead of the plotting meta plot of
Yeah, it's like I really had high hopes for Snyder's run, and I was all on board at first, but it's like I don't need one 40-issue story.
Right.
That's the thing.
We used to talk about this all the time when I worked here. We all know the good guys are going to win. The harder you try to sell me that this is it, nothing will ever be the same, and the good guys can't win this. Well, we all know they will.
Right.
So. But you have to put that much effort into convincing that it's impossible. Evil has won.
Right.
Yeah, I know it has right now, but I don't know. I'm looking at my watch here, and I feel like tick tick. We're good guys are going to pull this one out.
And especially when it started, it felt so like he was invoking Morrison's run almost with the scale of things. Yeah. And Morrison's run moves. Yeah. That is not decompressed storytelling.
I was more excited about Snyder's because I didn't realize that it was going to be a de facto crossover. You know what I mean? It's every event book that DC has had since then has somehow been tied to Justice League. And I think they were trying to create a flagship book to go alongside Batman, but I got nothing here. Nothing
On
until 59.
38, we have He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse #4.
I'm not buying it, but I still love that title.
First issue is really good. I really like the concept. As you guys were recording this, that's the only one that's come out so far. But I'm really enjoying this first issue. If you're a fan of Masters of the Universe, you should be picking this up. Trying to think, I don't have anything else for a while either.
I got nothing until 59, which is just to say that Adam Glass is leaving Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And he's one of the last men standing as far as the original Rebirth.
Oh yeah,
Williamson on Flash
Yeah.
is the only guy. Is Williams or Williamson? I remember which one it is.
Williamson.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's the now that Tom King is leaving
Right.
Batman, that'll be it. It'll be the only person left from the reboot. And then the Terrifics 25 with a choose your own ending. This has to be the final issue,
it doesn't
right?
say final
Doesn't
issue.
say
doesn't
final
say it.
issue.
They always label it.
Ah! It has to be the last issue.
Like they labeled the final issues on 80 with Dial H and Wonder Twins
Yeah, that's true. They did.
wrapping up. Do you think we get?
I will be stunned
Do you
if
think
there's
we'll
a
get
26.
volume 2
Of
on
what?
the Wonder Comics books?
I think we will get another Wonder Twins. I bet we don't get another Dial H. Just because Sam Humphries is kind of a journeyman kind of writer for DC. They use him to fill in a lot of stuff. And Mark Russell, I think, has got a little bit more of a higher profile as far as
Right.
people who don't read superhero comics.
Right.
Sam Humphries is not going to draw anybody new to the book. I could be wrong. I like Dial H. I hope they both
Right.
get another book. But if I were betting on just one, I would put my money on Wonder Twins every time.
I mean, just it's a more recognizable property too for what it is.
It's also
you
just a
know.
little bit. I mean, Dial H, other than it being more ethnically diverse than the original
Right.
stuff, it's not really that different.
I mean,
than
Wonder
the
Twins is
property.
pretty ethnically diverse too, with aliens. You know what I mean?
I just mean there's a it's like a Latino vibe to,
Right.
to Dial H that the all white kids stuff didn't happen before. But yeah, I know you're going to 81, right?
Yeah. So
right.
Young Justice 13 looks like they're going to Skartaris in this one. Again, this is another property Warlord that you need to tie in closer to DC. Or like, who cares otherwise with this just pocket universe you can ignore? And again, it's like I feel like DC should have done this before. I feel like they were going to do it in the Aquaman movie, like Atchison brought up before on a previous episode.
I felt like after Infinite Crisis and when we created a set number of worlds in the multiverse again,
Right.
I've been waiting for like 15 years for that to actually matter.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the point of
it never-
resurrecting the
never
multiverse was
does.
if no one was ever going to use it.
It didn't with the Elseworlds. You know, they'll do these fun stories now and then.
But
and
like
that
they took
leads to
Elseworlds
nothing.
away
Yeah.
to be like, well, now they're part of the DC universe.
Yeah.
Now we're going to ignore them. Now they've got a number
Exactly.
on them, so we can
Until-
safely put them back in their box.
Until they make an ongoing series on one of these books, it doesn't
if,
matter.
Luthor decides to chuck a planet at somebody in Justice
Yeah.
League, like just happened. Like, here, there you go. We destroyed one of the Earths. Yeah,
Right.
We used it, but no one ever visits them. Like, there's
No.
no purpose to there being a multiverse.
But I almost feel like Skartaris should be the Savage Land of the DC universe.
Yeah, I'm
you know, it
100%
should be a
with that.
physical place you can get to, or by some means, to
in
visit
friggin'
there.
Antarctica or something.
Yeah.
Like everything else always is.
Page 82, you've got a bunch of dollar comics from DC. You've got Batman 386, first Black Mass. You got Batman 567, the first Cassandra Cain. You've got New Teen Titans #2, first Deathstroke, and then Flash Comics #1, the beginning of the Mark Waid run on the Flash.
Mike Barron.
Oh, that is
That's the post-crisis run. with
Never mind.
Wally.
Forget I said that.
It's pick it up though. It's good stuff.
I thought that was the cover for Wade's run, so I'm totally wrong. So
I mean, that was the series he was on, but this is way before.
that's
his-
way before he
came in,
started.
like,
He came in
50s
later.
or 60s or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I
Right
should
around there.
read.
Yeah.
I just looked for the pictures.
And his run is not nearly as long as you remember it being. I don't think either. Because when I was hunting him down, I mean, it's not like it's 6 issues or something.
Right.
But like when you talk about, so like Peter David's Hulk run,
Yeah, no,
it's
no,
like
no.
10 years
Yeah.
long.
Yeah,
kind of
it
thing.
ain't that.
Or it's not. It's like a few years, but
Right.
it's nothing too terribly insane. I mean, I don't think he wrote it longer than Jeff Johns.
No.
It's about the same length. It's like 3 years or so.
Years ago at the old store, I passed up buying New Teen Titans #2 from Dennis for $2. So now I can buy it for half that price when the dollar
Score.
comic comes out.
Suck it, Dennis.
Suck it past me. We're making a bad call.
Yeah.
Page 84, you've got an absolute edition for Gotham by Gaslight, which they're including like 3 other issues that are tied to what they call the
Yeah.
Victorian Dark Knight.
Because they want to charge
Yeah.
you $30.
Yeah.
for,
They would charge you $50.
$50.
$50.
Oh, wow, it's
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
worse.
for a one
Well,
shot.
I only guessed 30 because I'm looking at the last thing I have marked, which is on 91.
Sorry.
The collection of the Nail, and it's
Oh,
$30 for 6 issues, and it's not padded with a bunch of crap you don't want.
They were bigger issues though too.
They were,
So I'll
but
give you that,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
like you buy the Gotham by Gaslight when you want exactly one issue,
Yeah.
but they've added however many more pages
Yeah,
of
there's
crap you
yeah,
don't need.
they've added more than what was
Like,
in
here,
just
let's
the
give you
first
some
stories.
over-
Yeah.
Final
Overall-
Crisis or whatever.
Overall quality of the book, Nail is the way to go.
Yeah.
for sure. But back on 84, we also have Batman Alfred Pennyworth trade coming out, collecting some old Alfred stories, and I assume this is because of the R.I.P. book we're getting.
Page 85, you've got another printing of Batman Arkham Asylum, Grant Morrison, Dave McKean. It's still 1999. I think this book was 1999 when it came out originally. So the price hasn't changed any on that. But if you haven't read it, it's definitely a good Batman story.
And the listing here also mentions remastered artwork by Dave McKean. I saw he was online a while back, like reaching out for people that had the original pages.
Oh,
So I assumed they were going to scan them in. And of course, everybody sees remastered Arkham Asylum's like, yeah, they already did that on the PlayStation. It's like, yeah, it's not the Arkham Asylum we're talking about.
No. 88. Of course, you said Event Leviathan was underwhelming, but if you want to pick it up, the trade is available on page 88.
It's not bad. It's just it's an event that set up more events.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
92, we have Robin Year One trade. Again, a good origin story for Robin. Dick Grayson. Robin, not my Robin.
Hashtag not my Robin.
97, we've got the new Batman Black and White statue, and it's the Frank Miller Armored Batman from Dark Knight Returns. How did it take this long to get this statue? You know what I mean? We've done over 100 at this point, and we're just not getting to this.
I had 2 reactions. My first was, man, that's sweet. And then the exact same yours was, wait, really?
Yeah.
Like, how's that not happened?
And I'm pretty
before?
sure they've done Frank Miller, but this version,
just a
and it's like
Batman, I guess.
you've had
Frank
crazy just concept statues before this.
You've had way less recognizable.
Oh,
looks.
for sure. And with the animated series figures, we're getting the Super Armor Batman, which is sort of the animated series version.
AKA Fat Batman.
Yeah,
That's what it
PH,
looks like.
Fat Batman. And we're getting Deathstroke again that didn't appear in the series, but they're kind of expanding the line because they're running out of characters at this point, I guess. And that's it for DC. Moving on to the Marvel
book.
catalog.
Page 1, Wolverine. This is the longest return in the history of comics. They've been talking about him coming back for
back.
2 years.
He's back.
Well, yeah, but
He
I
says
mean,
it in his own book.
But he hadn't had his own book, So we're finally, after however long it's been,
I liked a headline I saw online the other day, revealing the new Wolverine logo. It's the same thing as all the other X-Men books. It's that same just font that says Wolverine. Like, who cares?
Unless you go to Bleeding Cool and read their theory, which I very much approve.
What was that?
It's not appropriate for this podcast.
Okay.
So I'll happily talk about it, but
Yeah,
I'm
right.
fairly certain Scott's going to edit all that out. So it can be saved.
We'll put that behind the Patreon wall.
That's for our Patreon subscribers, which there aren't. But
any, yeah.
maybe there should be. No.
I love the new sketch variant they've got from Jim Lee. He's worked at DC for 20 years. Pretty cool they got that.
I will say, I griped a little bit about some of the Dawn of X stuff, the concept and the expectation not matching. But man, they did not drop the ball on this one because Ben Percy, who is, I don't know if you know this, a whiskey-drinking furry man who lives in a cabin in the woods. That's real truth.
All right.
Ben Percy is writing, and then Adam Kubert and Victor Bogdanovich are drawing, and that is going to look and read exactly like the people who are going to get excited about a Wolverine #1 are going to be very happy that this is the book that they got. So if right now you're saying Wolverine #1, I got to get that. Yeah, you do. It's exactly what you want.
there's also an adamantium variant cover with an asterisk, which says
I'll
not
be the judge of
not actually made of adamantium.
Yeah.
So, but I bet that's one of those going to be one of those
It's
misprint
made of
books.
vibranium,
Yeah,
of
there you go.
course,
It's going to be a misprint book, and some of them aren't going to be quite right, and they'll be worth
Jeez.
$1,000.
You're totally right.
Yeah.
Something.
I'm concerned about this variant we have on page 7 by Chip Kidd that is listed as a die-cut variant.
Like Wolverine 50.
The deadly Wolverine #50 from our youth, which I literally, and I'm not the only one that frequents the store that this happened to, cut his finger on that book.
I did not. I have that book.
Well, I know there's someone probably listening to this that did. After that, we've got the facsimile editions of Wolverine #1 of Claremont Miller's, and then the
good one.
and then the #1 from the ongoing, the
not
first
good one.
ongoing. And then we got the Wolverine
your
graphic
tongue,
comic box. And then we've got
Wolverine is standing on a pile of dead people.
yeah.
That's the Wolverine we all want to. No, it's not as good as the other one, but
And then this month's Marvel Tales Wolverine, your $8 reprint
Yeah,
book. I
but-
thought there was something good in this though when I was going through it before.
Well, that's fine. It should be 3
think.
$1 books
Right.
instead of 1 $8 book.
Yeah. I can't
Do
remember.
the math.
We got 25, X-Men 25, where he gets his adamantium ripped out of him, but he
yeah.
survives. It's cool, bro.
Page 10, we've got an X-Men Fantastic Four new 4-issue limited series. I have very fond memories of that, 1992 series that Claremont and Bogdanov did. It's so hopefully Zdarsky and Dodson can kind of capture the magic on this story, but I really enjoyed that book back in the day, so hopefully it'll be good as this time again.
based
So.
solely on the creative team. I mean, I should not be interested in this at all because I don't care about crossover miniseries, kind of stuff like that. But Chip Zdarsky is good, and Terry Dodson is a fantastic artist. So I don't hate it.
While we're on the topic of the X-Men books in general, if you're listening to this and you pick them up, let us know if you want them because they've been selling out regularly at the store here. We got people every day coming in wanting to add it to their list, and some of them, Marvel doesn't overprint, so we can't get old stuff in typically. So if
good to know.
you want us to get the X-Men books, let us know because we are ordering and they just keep selling out.
You know that he did bump it a little in
Yeah.
this last catalog, but you don't want to go too crazy.
Oh yeah, especially with X-Men, we've got dollar boxes full of X-Men books from the
That
90s.
is what exactly. I was gonna
That's
say,
the
man.
thing.
There's one thing that can get left.
It's not like we don't want to sell you a book. We want to make money, but we got to be smart about it too.
I got nothing until 46.
Well, on 26 we
Okay,
have
on 20, we got Falcon and Winter Soldier #1 trying to capitalize on the further delayed Disney Plus series. You were saying something about that earlier, Matt, but
Yeah, they supposedly Disney and some of the showrunners on a couple of their series did not see eye to eye, and so those people have been fired, and things have been thrown back to the drawing board. I don't remember exactly which ones. I know Dazzler did, which
Oh, no.
is kind of funny to say, as though we were all like, "Oh no, not my Dazzler series."
Right.
Having said that, I don't know. I believe that you could make a reasonably entertaining show. It's just you can't treat it like a straight up superhero
No.
show either,
No.
So
that should be for a different audience.
Right. I imagine that's probably where the headbutting came in. It's not just a chick who shoots lasers out of her hands kind of stuff.
Right.
I hope that it's Disney holding the line to we're going for a different audience and not Disney saying there needs to be more lasers in this.
Yeah,
Shoot lasers.
That's what I'd be concerned about.
So, but so far, where have they steered you wrong on the MCU? Really?
Right.
Iron Man 2 and Avengers 2. What else?
I like Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2 is awful.
No, son.
it's just okay. It's bad. It's okay.
I think it's
Did you not see Mickey Rourke brushing his shoulder off as he walked away from that explosion?
my hot take is I don't like Iron Man 3 either very much.
Yeah.
And a lot of people love it. It's,
I'm one of those that loves it.
I like 2 more than 3.
it's the same movie 3 times.
No, there's more suits of armor in the third one.
You see how many suits he has that he blows up?
I love Iron Man, but it's the same movie 3 times. Every time Tony's cocky, and then a business name from his past hoists Tony on his own petard, and then Tony's got to reevaluate his cockiness. And then somebody shows him the error of his ways, and he's like, "I'll never do this again." And then guess what happens in 2? Same crap, only it's Mickey Rourke with a bad accent and some laser whips. And then what happens in 3? Same crap, only this time a house flies down a hill, and it looks really cool. But everybody got mad about the Mandarin. Same movie. I know a lot of people that love 3, but yeah. Anyway, Avengers 2. Can we agree on that? Avengers 2 sucks. It's really fun.
It's definitely not my favorite.
Yeah,
in the
it's pretty
MCU.
low. It's pretty low on the list.
The movie
yeah.
can be summed by the Avengers saved the world from a problem the Avengers created.
Oh, for sure.
That's awful. It's the same problem I have with Suicide
Well,
Squad.
the thing is too, it's
we just
also
sent the Suicide Squad in there, and then the problem happens because you sent the Suicide Squad.
it's Also, definitely, they have better Ultron stories they could pull from for
yeah,
that. You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
And
So
also,
that's
the
really
Age of Ultron
disappointing.
is such a tease.
Yeah, and it is not that. And I don't want to be that. 'Cause
No,
that
no, I
story-
don't either.
That story sucks.
But I remember when it got announced and everyone was like, "Oh man, I can't believe they're already adapted." And I was like,
No.
"You're crazy. There's no way they're
Yeah.
doing that."
Infinity War wasn't Infinity War either. You know what I mean?
No, but I mean,
It's a better title.
given how
though.
long those things dragged out and how the
Yeah.
quality dipped every time they brought that back in the 90s, I'm kind of okay with it, I guess.
What do you got there on 27?
26, we've got Ant-Man number 1 and 2. So we're getting a new Scott Lang and his daughter series. It's written by Zeb Wells. Oh, do you guys know who Zeb Wells is married to?
Your
No.
mom?
Oh,
I guess
I hope not, because I really would have expected you to break that out much sooner.
Heidi Gardner from SNL.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard an interview with her the other day saying she was married to a comic writer, and it's
Every
Zeb
single
Wells.
time we watch SNL, my wife and I have a discussion about whether or not I'm allowed to think Heidi Gardner's hot, and I do. And every time she's like, "I don't get it." I'm like, "I don't get it either," but she's
Right.
quite attractive. This in no way makes her less attractive to me.
Because now you're like, there's a chance.
Now I'm like, hey, man, that chick is at least kind of accepting of nerds.
Right.
yeah. As of your quote on the, so you're telling. Oh, that was your quote, Dan.
Yeah.
That you had. You're
that
telling me
telling me
there
there's
is a
There's a
chance.
That's Jim Carrey's quote,
Yes.
not mine. On 32, we've got Nebula number 1. Timing is perfect for that, I guess. Since
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was how long ago?
Right. They're prepping for 3, which doesn't have a script or a date.
Yeah,
Or,
and it's coming after Suicide Squad.
yep.
Got 39. So page 39, we've got some True Believers books, dollar books from Marvel. We got the first appearance of Pepper Potts and this Tales of Suspense. We've got the first Machine Man 2020, or excuse me, Iron Man 2020
And I feel
and
like we've
Machine
talked
Man
about that
number
every
2.
single podcast for months.
And then Iron Man 118, the first roadie. So those were and then the first Joe Casta in Avengers. What issue is that? Like 146.
I want to point out one of the things that I
162.
really enjoy, and it's that this page makes me think of it. I do appreciate the number of times that we look at the reprint books, and it's a book that we either have in the case here or we have recently had in the case here.
Right.
And I'm like, it feels pretty good. Like a decent little selection of key issues coming in and out.
46.
46, me too.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, mine probably will not be the same texture. So I'm happy they're making a Gwen Stacy book, in as much as I think that is, like we were talking about with Dazzler, there's an audience that
Yeah.
will be into this book. What I'm not happy about, and I'm not like angry, because very little really actually makes me angry, but I'm fanboy raging the fact that they have Nick Spencer at Marvel. Nick Spencer is at Marvel because Spider-Man is literally his dream gig, and Nick Spencer wrote the new Archie book. How in the hell is Nick Spencer not writing this Gwen Stacy book? And I get maybe he's too busy, but like, did someone? I'm gonna tweet at Nick Spencer and
Right.
be like, please tell me you were offered this and
Yeah,
turned
he had
it
like
down.
first refusal
Right,
on the
like
book or something.
because if somebody was just like Christos Gage, there's nothing wrong with Christos Gage.
Right.
I've read and enjoyed many Christos Gage books. He's a perfectly competent writer. I like his
Right.
stuff, but.
Yeah.
If you had the perfect writer on staff and then you didn't do it, it's like if Mignola worked at DC and they were like, "We're doing Gotham by Gaslight and we're going to give it to Sam Humphries." And you're like, "What? No, why? Why would you do this?" It's not that he would be bad. It's just, but the guy's right there, man. So, all right, what's your take on it, Scott?
I was like, I don't know. I'm happy we're getting a Gwen Stacy book, but I don't know why we need it.
Yeah.
You
we
know,
don't.
so
well, I actually, you know why we need it? We need it so they can sell these trade paperbacks at Barnes and Noble.
There you go.
That's
Okay.
why we need
Yeah.
it. And I have no problem with that. But at the same time, they should do the thing that DC does, which is just make these as graphic novels in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why does it need to be a floppy? I don't know.
I'm one of those guys that think Gwen and Peter are the best couple, not
Yes.
not Peter and Mary Jane or Peter and Felicia. So,
So,
that's my camp too.
I
so.
will further go down that rabbit hole. I actually find, to me, I think that it is implied that Mary Jane knows she's his second choice. And I find that interesting about their marriage, that it is a marriage of two people who both know this is not who they were supposed to
be
marry.
with, yeah.
And I think that's, so that to me is actually what makes that kind of interesting. I don't want them to resurrect Gwen and have Peter marry her.
Right.
I like that feels so on brand for Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Like never quite there, almost,
Right. Almost.
but that's also on brand for Spider-Man that you'd be complaining about being married to your hot supermodel actress wife because you couldn't marry the girl you had a crush on in high school because your villain killed her. Even better, right? But yeah,
Or Peter killed her.
well, yeah, I mean he did, but not on purpose.
No.
So, all right, on 49, I don't know why Venom Island exists, and I don't know that we need it, but I do like that Mark Bagley's doing it.
Yeah.
And that makes me quite happy. Also in 51, I just like the symbiote Spider-Man Doctor Strange costume.
Yeah.
Not sure what's going on in that book right then. Looks awesome.
I don't have anything till 74, so.
Let me see what the
I
next
got some on 71. If you got anything before that.
67. Nothing about this book, which Scott has addressed previously, Hawkeye Freefall. I just love the Hood, and I'm happy to see the Hood actually being a villain again.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was around during the, what was the stuff called when Norman Osborn was basically the...
Dark Reign.
Dark
Yeah.
Reign. There you go. I was like, it's not Secret Invasion, it's thinking after
Right,
Secret
right.
Invasion. He was part of the little villain
Yeah.
cabal then, but I don't think he's really had much to do other than that. So I'm pretty happy about that. On 69,
Nice.
I'm really happy I'm glad that we queued that up. You can't see it if this were a video podcast. You just see me point to Dan and on cue Dan say nice.
We did not discuss that beforehand.
Nope. Just both inappropriate. But on that page that we have previously said, we got the Savage Hulk back, who's apparently the living Hulk. Whatever.
I assume
Don't
that
care.
is just
I assume the Living Hulk is the reference back to the pre-Hulk character from
Yeah.
what it was, Tales to Astonish or whatever monster book prior to the Hulk.
Oh.
I guess referring to the prototype Hulk.
Okay.
That's how I read that.
Well, you'll
I
notice
just
they
thought
don't.
it meant pre-Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
You'll notice they don't show you what color he is real too clearly.
Yeah.
So who knows?
It's like, is that the neon or is that him?
Yeah, exactly.
I do like that they're going through and giving every version of Hulk's personality is like their own little title, like the Professor and the Green Scar, and instead of it just being Joe Fix-It and then
Yeah.
whatever other ones, I kind of like that. The big guy is the one that likes Banner but is kind of dumb. What's your next one?
71. We've got Fantastic Four Grim Noir #1 by Jared Dugan. I feel like this could probably be a good story. I feel like it's going to be overlooked because it's just like this one-off thing.
Yeah.
And there's a nice
It's a
Eduardo.
great pun title too.
Yeah. And there's a Eduardo Rizzo variant cover, which they show real tiny in the corner here. I wish I could see a better picture of that. I'm sure I could find it online somewhere, but probably be a cool story in there, like some of the other one-shots they've been doing with Fantastic Four.
Oh, cool. You've got it marked too.
Yeah.
Me too. So,
74.
74.
All right, go.
Well, I was just gonna say we've had this team up before, right? Punisher, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine back
Yeah,
at
Hearts
the
of Darkness.
Hearts of Darkness.
It says
The
Hearts
one,
of Darkness
yeah, it's
2.
2, right? So it's a throwback to that. But we got the classified cover on for the Ghost Rider's appearance.
The same part of me that is really, really, really into Savage Avengers is also really, really excited about Hearts of Darkness.
I really like that first Hearts of Darkness.
Me
Like
too.
I'll go back and reread
Yep,
that.
Yep. It was one of those books that was like when I think about what 7th grade was like,
Right.
and I first really got into comics, the existence of a book that was Punisher, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider.
Rider.
Like, are you kidding
Fighting
me?
demons.
Together fighting demons? Like that was just the coolest friggin' thing I'd ever seen. That's one of the books I think of when I think about like when we all got into
Right.
comics in 7th grade in
And, like,
92.
I love Klaus Janson inking John Romita Jr. in that book. I just think it's a great pair. Klaus Janson is my favorite inker for Romita Jr.
Are you reading
so-
Ghost Rider otherwise?
Yeah.
It's really fun, honestly.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. Ghost Riders fighting,
I guess I had missed whenever they said that Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze are brothers, but okay, sure. It didn't in any way throw me off. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, well, sure, of course they are. All right, cool. So it makes the book the like brother team up thing is
Right.
Yeah.
Who do we think Classified is? Do we think that's a cape or just a silhouette on the cover here?
Well, I assume it's Ghost Rider. I mean, but
I don't
are
think
you
it
asking
is,
which
though.
variant? Which
No, I'm asking who do we think this is they're blotting out on the cover that they're not letting you see?
I think it's it's Ghost Rider.
He's got a cape.
But
Well,
it's
see, that's what I'm saying though. Is that a cape or you think they just digitally did that so you wouldn't see the
I'll tell you what I
silhouette of
hope
the
it
character?
is. Gladiator, because it looks like he has a mohawk.
It does look like a mohawk.
And he's got a cape. I want there to be a story reason why
Right.
Punisher, Wolverine, and Gladiator team up to fight demons.
Could-
Sure, why not?
In fairness, it could be a faux hawk. too.
It could.
I assume it was because of his strange new abilities that he has in the blurb is why they're
What if his
not
strange new ability
showing is to
be
become
Gladiator?
So, or it's just a little bit of flame on the top of
There you
Ghost
go.
Rider's head there.
Right.
That's
It's
all
the
he can
smallest,
manifest
yeah.
now.
He's got some problems. He needs to see a doctor, but he's having some performance issues. It's the spirit of vengeance, and it happens to everybody as you get older. Dan, it's perfectly normal.
My next thing's 110.
100.
Mine's 79.
Well, then go.
Savage Avengers 0, which at first I was like, oh, sweet. But it turns out it's just a reprint issue. But then
That would be even more 90s.
pour one out for my dead homies. Savage Avengers 10 is the end. They don't say canceled because
Right.
nothing in Marvel says canceled, but it says the team up you never knew you couldn't live without concludes. We hope you'll be okay. Oh, I will be
That's-
until they bring it back for Savage Avengers Volume 2.
Right.
Because we both know they're gonna.
They get a new number 1.
Yep. I'm done. I got nothing in Marvel.
Okay,
Other than to
so-
say that have you read Punisher Soviet?
I read the first one.
Do you think it kind of sucked?
No,
I wasn't impressed.
I like it. I want
wouldn't
to see
say
where
I
they're
like-
going with it. Again, I'll read Garth Ennis' Punisher
I
whenever
know,
you give it to
same,
me.
Same. But I was
So,
like, this isn't as good as I hoped it would be.
I like that they're blaming it on him. You know what I mean? They all think it's Punisher doing something, and he's got to play catch up now. We don't usually see him in that position.
I guess I was just ready for him to start killing commies.
Right.
Like,
well,
from the jump,
I think we're gonna get to that.
let's get our hands
You know.
dirty.
So we're getting reboots of the Star Wars books now. Hopefully they're paring the line down with this, but we're getting a new Darth Vader run.
Spoiler alert, they're not.
Yeah, I know. But the Darth Vader books have been pretty good that they've done. So, and it's Greg Pak writing this. So
Honestly,
I'll
the Darth
probably-
Vader books are the best part
Yeah.
of the whole line.
going into collections.
Yeah, so 110, we got a Marvel portfolio, Stanley Art Germ. Is it Lau?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
all right. So now this is only 12 pages, but they're print, so it's like a portfolio that you can pull out. They're like what, 15 by 12 by 15 almost, or something like that. They're oversized. Oh no, 11 by 15 basically.
Yeah.
They're oversized. Now there was a previous Art Germ art book, and people were actually like tearing each of the pages out individually and selling just like a page individually for much more than what they were selling the entire book for.
Enterprising little
Yeah,
bastards.
yeah. So I assumed that this would be something that a person could do the exact same thing with.
Yeah, so if you got the DC one, you can get the
There
Marvel
you go.
one.
That's
now to
right.
go
Yeah.
With it.
So
So after that, on 112, 113, I didn't really pay attention to this before, I guess, when it was in here.
Well,
but
yeah.
they're reprinting the Dawn of X stuff,
Yeah.
like by month.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this before?
No.
well, we
Okay.
mentioned it that we had all
We
the
mentioned
first
that the first
issues.
trade was, hey, why is this the first issue?
Issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did not know then that this
Okay,
was
that this is what
literally
they're
how
doing.
they were going to do it, which would be, well, I wouldn't say it would be fine, but it would at least be an idea.
Right.
If they weren't going to continue expanding the line,
Right.
Yeah.
and they are. So the other thing is Fallen Angels is gone next year. So that's a classic Marvel. Ongoing's actually a miniseries. And then they're replacing it with Hellions and then Wolverines coming in too.
Right.
So how many issues are you going to, I don't know. Like, I feel like the point is to maintain the price point, right? If
Right.
you didn't want to buy these 6 issues, these floppies on the shelf, pay $20 for the trade every month. Well, if you're going to just keep jamming more in, they're going to bump the price up.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel like you're sort of losing part of the point, which is just, it's an easy $20. Here you go. Or
Right.
maybe it's
$18.
18? Okay,
Yeah.
even better.
And 20% off that at Campus Comics.
Whoop, whoop.
So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting way to handle trades.
It's literally,
You know what I mean,
It's
but-
literally what CrossGen did.
Well, was it?
Yep.
Huh.
And how did that work out?
Yeah.
My next thing is 124.
Oh no, 121. Or 120. We have the King Thor trade, collecting that miniseries, which I guess is the end-ish of Aaron's
You
run.
sweet summer child. That book will never end.
124, Immortal Hulk. You have all volumes of the Immortal Hulk, 1 through 6. Volume 6 being solicited anew for a March release. Volume 5 is actually supposed to be out, I think, in February, if I remember right. So they're all available for order right now. So if you've missed this book, it's something you should definitely pick up.
On 132, we have Fantastic Four Volume 4, Point of Origin. This is a story that's going on right now in Fantastic Four, where they're completing their first mission that went awry. And it's been a really good
fun.
story, yeah. So I don't know how it wraps up yet because it hasn't ended yet. But
I like that it's basically been a 3 plot line story. There's the Ben plot,
Yeah.
the Johnny plot, and the Reed and Sue one, and they're all plots that sort of speak to what you like about those characters in the
Oh,
first place.
yeah.
So Johnny's got, some romantic misadventure
Right.
stuff, and then Ben's punching monsters and
Yeah.
being basically a nice guy with a grumpy nice guy, and then Reed and Sue are doing basically Nick and Nora Charles, Thin Man kind of stuff.
Right.
We're like the kooky married couple. Yep.
and then on 134, we have Conan the Barbarian Volume 2 wrapping up Jason Aaron's run.
which is sad because
Yeah,
it's been fun.
it's been really good. So I assume there'll be a collection of all 12 coming up sometime.
I assume that Jerry Dugan will be taking this over as Jerry Dugan takes over every book.
Well, it's in here. We just didn't go over it. I can't remember who it is now.
I think I breezed past it and didn't think about it.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh God,
definitely in
please
here.
be
but-
Jerry Dugan because I was just talking out my butt and I bet you it's
It is Jim Zub.
Jim Zub. Oh man, why didn't I think of that one?
Page 140. You got anything for? Okay, so page 140, you have I think a new collection, The Black Widow by Wade and Somni.
Oh, yeah.
The complete. This, in my opinion, this is probably the best Black Widow story, and this will be out. Let's see, the same month that the movie comes out in March too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is gonna be out the same.
Take a note, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, so, well, I think Marvel just got lucky. I think we actually mentioned last time that's like there were several other Black Widow trades that were listed
Yeah.
last time. It's like, why didn't we get the
Yeah.
Wade Somni? Well, now we're getting the Wade Somni.
It's so good.
Yeah, so it's really, really good. I think it's all 12 issues of their series.
Yeah.
So definitely something to read, and it really is one of the better Black Widow stories, if not the best Black Widow story.
I think that's all I got for Marvel.
Yeah, I think that's it for me as well. If you like Taskmaster, there's a Taskmaster trade on page 141 as well.
Hopefully telling his paintball roots. So going on to the big book.
Big book. Page 28, where they have the cutoff date for
Yeah.
the orders, which again is
So
December
easy to
18th.
find.
Yeah. You can get your copy of previews because there's so much stuff in this catalog that we don't talk
Yeah,
about.
and you want to play along at home.
Yeah, so it's amazing that you can talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours about a book and not even touch on 10% of it.
we scratch
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So,
So on page
Just
30,
the merch section alone.
oh yeah,
right?
yeah. Page 30 go.
You can get all your free comic book day gear year
Guess
round
what?
if
It's
you
not.
want.
It's not free.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a
So you can
feeling
start,
it
yeah.
won't sell.
So you can start advertising for
Yeah,
previews.
we'd appreciate
yourself.
it.
Yeah. So, but May 2nd. So mark your calendar for free comic book day this year. What movies? What movie?
Yeah,
Is there a movie? 'Cause
there
it's
is.
not Eternals,
No, I heard it the other day, and now I can't think of what it was.
and it's not Black Widow. So, I mean, what else is Marvel got?
Oh crap!
I don't know. I mean,
Why can't we remember? Oh,
Everybody's yelling at us
Continue
right now.
talking.
Listeners
yeah.
are yelling at
They're
us.
like, what a bunch of posers.
all 29 of them, including that person in the Netherlands.
Right. Well, anyway, going into Image on page 37, we have Savage Dragon number 250. So finally getting to that milestone.
Well, I don't feel bad.
With a Liefeld
I,
cover.
I googled and one of them says untitled Marvel film.
No, it's definitely titled.
Yeah, but apparently not so long ago.
Right.
That's the first result.
So we have Eric Larson doing 250 issues of Savage Dragon.
And you got a Liefeld cover.
Oh boy.
I am nothing but respect to Eric Larson for this, but I'm a little amused that the solicitation text says forces have conspired against Malcolm Dragon and his family, but is this a turning point or the end? Okay, so if you stop right there, fine. But then it goes on to say, find out as Savage Dragon becomes the second original Image title to reach its 250th issue and begins the countdown to 300.
Well,
So it's not the end, then, is what you're saying.
It could be the end for Malcolm.
Malcolm, exactly.
Right, well,
They
'Cause
killed Dragon.
Okay.
It could be one of the kids taking over after that.
You know, you complain about comics not changing over time.
Yeah.
Well, there
Yeah.
you go.
What
So
if
that
we
one
did-
has.
What if we did, man?
If they can't, no, it is Black Widow apparently. Black Widow.
Oh, is it May?
Wikipedia says May.
Oh, really?
I thought it
Okay.
was out-
Oh,
I thought it was out-
like March.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was out earlier.
Well,
too.
now I'm disappointed.
We'll have to find something else to do in March.
Yeah. So
That's all I have for Image. You guys got anything?
I've got
55.
42
Go.
on the Stump, which is a political parody comic wherein debates are settled in the ring. And I have to say, I'm not too proud to not buy it. I'm going to buy it. I have no problem with that at all. Also, I feel like it's one of those books that's going to be under-ordered, and then later on people will talk about tracking them down on eBay. On 64, did you read Philadelphia yet?
I have not read it yet.
Did you get it? Best titled book on the shelf, but it was really a lot of fun. I was very happy with it. I'm not sure that it quite lived up to the hype, but that's okay. It was still really good, and I was very happy I bought it.
Page 55, we've got Die Volume 2. So
Man, I just read the new one. Are you caught up?
I'm not caught up. So that I am reading as trade. So I'm not caught up on that one. So what's that?
He's just over there whispering, die. People will be like, is that back room haunted? I swear I heard somebody say die, and maybe someone say get out.
I figured, okay, so I thought somebody else was going to talk about this book on page 38, the After Realm Quarterly #1, because it's like, it almost feels like Die does, because like they're literally passing around dice as runes, and they've got a D&D map.
Freaking polyhedral dice.
Yeah, so it's just like I thought somebody else would talk about it. So I don't know if this is something that's going to be worth taking a look at. It's very it's very cartoony art. It's actually a gem of the month from previews.
It has a more sellable title. It's also quarterly.
Yes, which is
odd.
Well, I mean, it's
maybe it'll come
48
out on
pages,
time.
but yeah. So
The irony will be when it does not.
But it's,
Right, yeah, no kidding.
my next thing's on 78.
Bro, my next thing is like on page 200.
Well, on 76, going into Dark Horse, we have Predator Hunters 3, which I haven't read, but I'm like, if they've done 3 of these, it's got to be something to it. I've seen some good reviews for them online. But it's Chris Warner.
I own them.
Yeah, what do you think?
They're books about the Predator, all right?
Yeah, that's about it. Like,
I mean, they're fine. Like, every time... I'm not a completist about a lot of things, but evidently I am about friggin' aliens and Predator books.
Right.
God knows why, but I am. Mostly because there are so few of them that it feels stupid to skip when you're like, oh, bro, they don't make but one every however often. So I have them. They're fine. Every time I buy one, I'm never not entertained in a...
You're getting what you expect out of a Predator
right,
or an
exactly,
Aliens
yeah.
book.
But I also, every time
I
I
don't think
think...
this is getting Eisner for Book of the Year or anything.
Every time I think, did this need to exist? I feel like they exist largely to justify that they paid for the license.
Right.
So, but they must sell enough.
Yeah.
Because they keep making them.
So page 78, Bang 5-issue series from Matt Kent. It's kind of hard to not talk about Matt Kent when you got to check. It's between like Mind Management, Department H, and he was XO. He wrote XO Man of War for quite a while too on the newer
Also,
Valiant run.
He is a local.
Yeah, so it's not actually too far from here. So this is like a mystery mashup. It's kind of like the Murder She Wrote with James Bond with anything crime or mystery related. So it looks kind of interesting. So definitely something to, if you're wanting something new that's not superhero, something to take a look at. And I actually bumped into him at Gen Con, literally just walking down the aisles. And I looked up, I said, "Are you Matt Kent?" He said, "Yes, I am." And I stopped and talked to him.
And he handed him a subpoena.
You've been served at Gen Con. I was here to ruin your vacation.
And then you dabbed and walked off.
84 is my next thing. Okay, so page 84, something we haven't mentioned in a while, a burger book, right? So we got a new burger book tomorrow by Peter Milligan. So now the story seems a little, I don't know, derivative.
Like it could have been at Vertigo? Is
Well,
that what you're saying?
no. I mean, this is Dark Horse. This is where Burger Books moved to. But this,
You
it's
mean
like
where Vertigo split? So what there was there was a divorce.
Yes.
And DC kept the Black Label half, and Dark Horse got the Burger half.
So in this one, you have one of those cases where there's a computer virus that crosses over and kills just the adults. But I'm hoping that since it made the cut as a burger book, that it actually will do something new with that story or that, genre of story. So something to take a look at. 5-issue series, again, from Dark Horse. 89. All right, so there's a video game coming out pretty soon, Cyberpunk 2077, released sometime in 2020. I don't know what the actual release date is on that, but they have basically a World of Cyberpunk 2077 hardcover deluxe edition. So if you're wanting to get a sneak peek into what's going to be going on in that video game, it's a little pricey. Well, there's a $40 version, and then there's a deluxe edition. It's $100. So if you want to get a sneak peek,
is this an art book or is this
it's not
like an anthology? Or?
I think it's a combination. I think you're going to see some of the arc, and they're also going to. It's not an anthology. They're going to describe the world that the video game is taking place in. So I don't think it's like what they did for like the Matrix, the Animatrix. I don't think it's anything like that. I believe it's just blurbs and more like an art book, but with a little bit more text. 118 is my next thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah, I even need a 145.
Okay, well, let me flip pages. So on 118, in case you missed it, there's now a female turtle. So we're getting and this is something I think Peter Laird said would never happen.
Jenica.
Yeah, Jenica. So we're getting a 3-issue series from, who is this, IDW. And I thought this was the one that had the Eastman and Laird variant cover, but I guess not. That must be someplace else. So anyway, new turtle. There was one in like a TV show for a while, but that was not very well received. But apparently this one's been a little bit better received than than some of the other ones.
Turtles fandom is awfully persnickety for people who have had so little to work with.
Right.
They're very choosy.
Yeah, there still is a lot of turtle stuff, and so
You get
also
like one thing at a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I
like
think that's better though.
It's like when Star Trek wasn't a thing, and people were like, "I don't care what it is, slap Star Trek on it, I'll buy it." Like I gotta have something. But how much Ninja Turtle stuff have you really had since the early '90s? Not a lot. Can you really afford to turn your nose up at that much of it? I don't feel like you can.
And by the way, they're on Netflix. The latest season of Toys That Made Us is out, and one episode is TMNT, and they spent a lot of time talking to Eastman and Laird, and a lot of time talking about the comics. So definitely for a comic fan, something you should check out. Okay, I'm up to 228.
So on 145 again with IDW, we have the Judge Dredd 100-page giant. And it says that here it features the first Dredd work from Mark Russell and Paul Jenkins. So I'm not sure if those are reprints, if they've done stuff for Dredd before, or if these are new stories
Yeah, it's not
in
real
here.
clear, is it?
But it's a 100-page book, and it's $6, so it's $1 more than DC charges you for a 100-page book. So probably might be something fun to check out if you're into Dredd.
If you're not, you should be. It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
After that, on 147, we have Free Comics, the untold story of giveaways that fought commies, sold cars and cigars, showed how to buy a TV and avoid VD, and now are saving lives. So this is sort of a history of giveaway comics. It's put together by Craig Yo.
Free comics, only $49.99.
Yeah, but you pay, but you buy it. This book is $50. So kind of go over the history of some of like these giveaway comics you see over the years and
I
stuff
wonder if
like
they'll have
that.
the Radio Shack Whiz Kids comics in
Oh
there.
man,
Oh man, I hadn't thought about that in forever.
right?
I get them in collections every once in a
Yeah,
while.
I'm
there's
sure.
there's some back here.
So
But yeah, this is I'm really interested.
Also, I
in
just hadn't
this.
thought about Radio Shack in forever, I guess,
Right.
but I definitely hadn't thought about those guys. Oh,
Yeah, this is something I'm probably gonna pick up though. I think this is pretty interesting. I think there'll be some cool history stuff in here for just these crazy books you see now and then. After that, we have the Mueller Report, the graphic novel.
it's
If you didn't
it's
get
pretty
enough
fantastic.
of it,
The preview
yeah.
pages, I have to say.
Yeah, and it's by Shannon Wheeler, who did Too Much Coffee Man. So might be a fun book to check out.
Depending on
Yeah,
how you vote.
176.
yeah, 228.
Going into Dynamite, we've got James Bond, Reflections of Death. So this is like a anthology one-shot they're doing. We've got Ben Piercy that we talked about, Greg Pak, Andy Diggle, Gail Simone, Mark Russell, all writing stories in this. So hopefully everybody's got just a one-off James Bond story they want to tell that they don't have a spot for. So hopefully that'll be something cool to check out. 186. Red Sonja and Vampirella Meet Betty and Veronica #9. Is this an ongoing?
It was a mini that they converted into an ongoing, and my Archie loving heart sank because it's not, in my opinion, very good.
Right. I was shocked that this is still going on. I didn't realize that it happened.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
All right.
Yeah,
You shake your head every time you pass out you hand over the money for it, don't
I
you?
sure do.
Right.
I do. I'd like to say that I don't, but nope.
202, we've got Once and Future Volume 1. But it's not everything because this is going to be ongoing now.
Yep. All right, so go back to 196, though. So first of all, worth mentioning, did you see that Boom is going to finish the year as the #4 publisher
Oh, really? For what? Because of...
because of the strength of things like Red Mother and Once and Future and something that's coming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They-
Red Mother already has sold out its second print, and
No,
it has
Red Mother has sold its third print. And it
Really?
doesn't come out until tomorrow.
yeah. So
And there's also this really weird thing going on where the second printings of Boom books are worth more than the first because Boom has been trying to up their first printings and failing. So then they've rushed second printings out but underestimated the demand for the seconds. So the seconds have these crazy low. All these books keep selling through 2 printings before they hit the shelf. So the second one is always too low. So like Folklord's #1 first printing is worth a little money, but second printing worth a lot more. And all the second printings are worth more. So I bring all this up to say, if you're going to be like a lot of people, I think, who are speculating, Alienated would be the one to buy. And I tell you the thing that got me on it, I was waffling on it based on the description, which is basically teenagers find a alien super predator. But you have recommendations from not only Kieran Gillen, which is good. This guy does Once
Yeah.
and Future and Die. He's quite talented. But you also have Brian Vaughn, who, is hardly in comics, and when he does, it's always fantastic. So I was like, well, all right, guess I'm putting that on my pull list. Mark me down.
246.
228, you Vampire State Building, which Matt described as the best title for a comic that we never received.
So angry.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that and trademarked that myself. It's
But-
so obvious.
Yes, but you've got the 4-issue series collected. That was just a 4-issue series,
Right,
right?
answering my question, is this an ongoing or a
Yeah.
mini? Because it wasn't billed as anything. It wasn't
No.
like of 4. They just sort of stopped being in the catalog. And I was like, well, I hope it was just a mini and not
Right.
a thing that is going to go on hiatus for a while.
So that's available now. 246.
Two- 240 is my next thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Undone by Blood, The Shadow of a Wanted Man. It is a Western in the 70s from Aftershock, which normally I'd be like, maybe. But it's by Lonnie Nadler, who I think I feel like I can safely say I'm the only one of the three of us who's reading it. No one's reading Black Stars Above from Vault, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Dang, it's good. It is this creepy settlers in rural Canada during like the 19th century stuff. It's awesome. And Lonnie Nadler writes that. So
Black
I
Stars
was
what?
Black Stars Above.
Above.
Man, I'm in the tank for Vault right now. I'm buying like several Vault books. But they're a really small company. They do just genre fiction. They don't do any superhero stuff. It's horror, sci-fi, and fantasy stuff. That's all they do. So that's like my original nerd wheelhouse is, books, not comics. So I'm really into that. But I don't know why Nadler is doing this one at Aftershock, but whatever. You had me at 70s Western.
Yeah, I see this MM here on this page. So
Yeah, that'd be me.
I've seen a lot of those MMs throughout the catalog.
Those would be me. Yep. All right, I got nothing until, same. We're all going to try the same
yeah.
thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're getting the first volume collection of Second Coming. So again, probably be a second, I would think.
No, there
if they're
is.
doing
They
that.
are.
So
They delayed the last issue to next year. It's supposed to be out like at the very end of this year, and now it's going to be sometime in January. But Mark Russell already said they're doing another one. Just taking a little bit of a breather. I'm very happy about
that's
it.
okay too to
Yep.
do that now and then.
I would much rather there be a little bit of a break and then it go back to right on schedule,
Yeah.
like normal. That's fine.
After that, on 248, we've got Goon number 9, and so this is the start of a fill-in story, which I'm not crazy about because I want Eric Powell on here, but it's Roger Langridge.
Yep.
So
I
it's
had
like
the exact same
I'm totally
reaction.
down for this. He's written some of the funniest comics like the last 15 years.
Yep.
Fred the Clown,
can't-
his Muppet Run is great. Popeye,
You can't be too mad when the fill-in is like the perfect guy. For the
yeah,
fill-in.
for sure.
Yeah.
And we got Mike Norton on art. So on 254 from American Mythology, we've got Casper the Friendly Ghost. We have a Casper #2 homage cover of Marvel Comics #1, where we have Hot Stuff burning through the wall coming after Casper. Which I just thought was a pretty random
great.
reference in there.
You think
I was
Marvel,
really
Disney
interested to
will
see
send
where
them
we
a
were
cease and
going.
desist?
I
Yeah.
don't think you can. I think they're okay.
Yeah. If you can get a cease and desist for homage covers, the industry will collapse
That's what I was
tomorrow.
going to say. There's a whole lot of people in some trouble.
259, Archie meets the B-52s.
I'm very, very conflicted.
What are you conflicted about?
Well, on one hand, I don't want it. On the
What?
other hand, I think, well, I do have all the other Archie meets, and they were all
Right.
actually pretty. Dude, Archie meets the Ramones was awesome.
Yeah.
But I also love both Archie and
Right.
the Ramones. I have nothing per se against the B-52s.
You're not a Love Shack fan.
No.
Well,
And honestly, of the two, I'd rather have Rock Lobster all the time. But
well, you should look up some of the Slipknot mashups with them on YouTube.
Archie Slipknot
No,
or
B-52s.
Well, I don't know which one I'd rather have. Archie Slipknot or B-52 Slipknot. I'll think about that. I got nothing until appropriately we get to Vault Comics.
3 from 42 is my next
358's
thing.
where
281 from Clover Press. We're getting a Spirit collection of like some of like the best Will Eisner
Yeah.
Spirit stories
I know.
apparently
I thought it was really weird too.
in a graphic novella format, which is a new format. No, it's not.
Have you ever heard of Clover Press?
No.
No, me neither. Okay.
So I don't know if this
I
is the
said
first time
sure.
they've had something,
Okay.
but then right after that, we've got a Pirates collection of like old pirate comics, which I guess if you're into Watchmen, go all in and get some old pirate comics.
Yep. How big a fan are you?
And again, it's
You can buy some old-
another one that Craig Yo is involved in.
Guy's getting some work.
Yeah, he is. 297. We have Investigators graphic novel. And at first I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like a Franco Balthazar book. But then I'm looking closer and it's like, oh, this is a Dave Pilkey ripoff. To the point where they even say perfect for fans of Dogman. And later in the solicit it says Investigators is the perfect series for Dogman fans.
Let me ask you something, Dan. Have you considered in your TeePublic saying perfect for fans of? Because maybe that's the key. Maybe you can avoid these cease and desist by saying perfect for fans of The Mandalorian.
Right.
And they'll be like, damn, he's used our legalese against us. Curse you, Dan Brown.
Yeah,
Your
seems like a
clever
real
wordplay.
kind of shady thing to do.
I knew somebody was going to bring up Dr. Tomorrow. How dare you? Have you no shame, Dan Brown? On 359.
Well, hold on, 342 from Titan. We got Adler #1. This is like in the TV series. It's a love interest for Sherlock. In the actual stories, she's, at least the ones that I have read and remember, she's not that large of a character.
In the Downey movies.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, she's only in the
In the
first one. Yeah, in the one for the Downey movies. But anyway, so we've got an Adler 5-issue series from Titan Comics, and then on page 345, I think we skipped a month. We get the 7th issue of Blade Runner 2019 solicited this month as well.
When are we getting Blade Runner 2099?
When Marvel gets a license,
Right.
I was
for the
going to say
property.
when Marvel buys Titan.
Yeah.
It'll be like, you demanded it, Dan. And then everyone will know it was Dan Brown's fault. Be like, I remember. He mentioned it.
So back on 352. Valiant.
Yes. Moving
Yeah.
forward to
We've got
352.
Dr. Tomorrow,
Yep.
#1.
Yep.
So the first time I remember, again, I don't follow Valiant, but the first time I remember seeing Dr. Tomorrow was the Acclaim books.
Yes.
Does he predate that? Or is that where he's from?
I think he's from the Acclaim books.
Okay.
But this is unrelated. They just happen to own that name.
They have the name. So,
they're-
this doesn't tie into anything previous.
Did you see who's writing it?
I don't know who that is.
Paul Levitz? Isn't it Paul Levitz?
Alejandro Arbana is how you spell Paul
No,
Levitz?
no, Paul Levitz is doing something. Oh, Paul Levitz is doing The Visitor. Never mind.
okay.
Yeah, I was like, Paul Levitz, which is the exact same thing there, too.
Right.
They own The Visitor, and they're like, yeah, we'll just use that name
Right.
again. The hilarious part of this is that is what Acclaim did to Valiant.
Right.
Acclaim bought Valiant, and then we're like, well, we don't really want Bloodshot and Exo Manowar, but we would like those, at the time, valuable trademarks on the
Right.
IP. We'll just make our own book and use that name. And then Valiant's like, well, Acclaim, how the worm has turned. We will take your names, and we will reuse them in completely unrelated ways. Yep. Yeah, but The Visitor is the same thing. Paul friggin' Levitz is apparently
Right.
like, hey, I'm going to come out of retirement to write The Visitor. Sure. Okay. Whatever you say, man. On 359, as I mentioned before, Black Stars Above, really, really good. I also buy a book that we will not discuss on this podcast, but it's called Money Shot.
Oh, that's who that's for.
And it's what you think it is, but it's not nearly as filthy as I was led to believe it was. I just thought the concept was really funny, and it felt like a thing that somebody could absolutely license for cable.
Right.
And it's been fun. But I don't know, like for a book that has literally not one, but 2 XXX polybagged variants, which I don't own, for the record. I didn't buy them. The book is remarkably safe. Like there's,
Really?
I don't know, there's like some boobs,
Right.
but not like a lot of them either. It's
Right.
remarkably sex-free for a book that's about people having sex. But it's been funny, and I like it. And again, Vault. And they have a book this month called Finger Guns that I don't feel like I know enough to make a judgment on whether I want it, but I do want to buy a book called Finger Guns.
Right.
Because that's a great title for a book. I feel like one of the trends here is the number of times that I can be sold by a title. The Plot has a trade paperback. I just read Plot #2. I'm waiting for #3 to come in. That's also been a lot of fun, Scott. So just saying.
Just write it down. Is what you're telling me.
All right. Yeah. Yep.
From Vault.
From Vault. Yep.
From Vault. Okay, I'm writing it down.
I got nothing until we get to the merch, kids.
Yeah, I'm on the flip side too. So
Well, before we flip over, on 383 in the manga section, we have Transformers, the manga. So it's a classic Transformers manga now available in English for the first time. You couldn't even get it before now. So if you're Transformers completist, go get it. Now you can read it.
page 15, I think this is the first Mandalorian merchandise that we have in the previews catalog, right?
Did we have the pops in here? I bet we had the pops.
Were they in there last month?
I don't know, but they're already out now.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well,
but
that doesn't mean they're in previews.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Like,
qualifying that
well, they're
statement.
out in comic book stores.
Okay, all right.
I saw one at the other shop that I go to,
Right.
which we call Side Piece.
So anyway, if you want a a half scale bust of the Mandalorian, then you can get that for
Scale
$150.
for $150. By the way, that's an example. That's a great example of how far Gentle Giant has sunk. You remember when they were like they were like a high-end premium collectibles
Right.
thing? Now they'll give you a half-scale bust for $150.
Right.
I feel like this would have been $500
This
10
would have
years ago.
this would have been 1-to-1
Yes.
and like way expensive.
And now they're like, how about $150? Will you do it? Anybody?
Well, I feel like it's more competitive for them too. That it
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
be,
but I'm like they're
you
not.
know.
They did their own thing. They did the exact same
Right.
thing Bowen did. They overproduced and
Yeah.
they reduced the actual collectability of their market by making it so effing hard to keep up with their stuff.
On 27, we've got the Marvel Comic Premiere Collection Juggernaut statue for $250. Let's see, was 11 inches high. So this looks like a pretty cool Juggernaut
bad.
statue. You know what I mean? It's, if you're wanting that.
next thing's on
Page
50.
32.
It's on 49.
We got
I
the.
knew there was going to be a discussion of this too. No, I don't want the Vin Diesel figure.
What?
Just because I buy Valiant doesn't
Dude,
mean
you
I
want the
their merch.
Bloodshot movie figure.
I tell you what, you buy it for me and I'll take it.
I'm not doing that. But it
not
does
that
look.
committed
But,
to it.
so I'm assuming, based on the existence of this figure, that he's going to look like this by the end of the movie. Because so much in the trailer looked just like regular.
sure
Vin
hope so.
At least in a
Diesel.
dream sequence.
Yeah.
We get albino Vin Diesel at some point in that film. And that's coming. What is that? February?
Yeah.
That comes out. Like that's creeping up.
Yep. I think it will have been out when I go to C2E2. So I'm really hoping.
Yeah.
Hoping that Valiant's there, so that I can either throw Rotten Tomatoes at them, or I can be like,
Or
"You guys
congratulate
did
them."
it!
High
You
five.
freaking did it!"
On 41, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure this is Eagle Moss.
I think so.
DC Superhero
Sure
Collection.
looks like it.
We have a
That
Mega
Dark
Dark Side that's 14 inches tall. It's also $200.
But it's really nice.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool, like a nice classic
Yeah.
version of Dark Side.
What page are you on now?
49.
Great. Can we talk about how friggin' much I hate this Stan Lee figure?
Now this has been in
Do
here
you, hate,
before.
I know.
do you hate the figure or do you hate the accessory?
The accessory.
I hate everything about it.
Okay.
Because I feel like that figure is being sold. So, because, this is not visual, it is a Stan Lee figure.
Marvel
its
Legends Stan Lee.
accessory is a Captain America shield with a Stan Lee signature on it. Captain America, a character that he didn't create.
He had-
Right.
Yeah. However, his first published comic book work was in an issue of Captain America where he wrote a 2-page story. So
Andy brought him back in the 60s.
and he
Sure.
was
But
Andy had
what
cameos
this
in the
is-
movies.
What this is that's an easily recognizable Marvel
Oh, yeah.
icon. And they were
Yes.
like, well, put it in Stan's hand.
Right.
Sure.
yeah.
And that they probably already had a mold of.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, where's the Jack Kirby figure, everybody? Anybody know where the
with
Jack
no-
Kirby
with
figure
no
is?
shield, yeah.
Anybody
or Joe
know?
Simon. What about Joe Simon?
Yeah.
What's
I tell you, I
his
don't
figure
feel
with the
like
shield?
it's egregious as the Motu figure they did of Stan Lee a while back in their collector line.
I don't think I saw that.
Look that up.
Oh, boy.
On a 52,
Okay, well, on 50, we've got the Monty Python Black Knight talking premium motion statue. I'm not going to buy this.
What's
It
it-
ain't that
I'm
free.
glad, but
what's
I'm
it?
glad
Wait,
this
what's
exists.
a motion statue?
Oh, well, I don't know. I assume his arms or legs move or whatever.
Oh, it looks like a bobble figure. Like look at the
Yeah,
waist.
Maybe, but anyway, yeah.
I
I'm
hope
not
he
gonna
falls.
own
I
this.
hope he falls apart.
Yeah, but I'm glad it exists.
It's very premium for $50.
So on 52, we have the Star Trek Polystone cat statues, where we have cats cosplaying as Star Trek characters that everybody needs.
Or not.
I got nothing.
Yeah, and I think I'm done. I don't think I got anything the rest of the way out. So.
Oh, I know.
I actually do want to talk about Pops.
I want to talk about Pops too, but
Pops,
with
the Beanie
Sup-
Babies.
with Super
Oh, I
of
agree.
collectibles.
Hey, nobody's
with
disagreeing with you.
Super 7, we've got some Pee Wee's Playhouse reaction figures that they're making now, and we have all these Ninja Turtles Ultimates figures, which look really nice, but they are $45 a pop. So it's like nice 7-inch scale figures with lots of articulation, lots of accessories. But man, that price point.
Hard no.
Yeah. And when they first showed these at a con or something or online, it's like, wow, those look like great figures. And I'm sure they're nice, but man, $45 is a lot to ask for a single figure, even in 2019. Then we have a Transformers Ghostbusters Ectotron Ecto-1. So it's the Ecto-1 car from Ghostbusters as a Transformer, which I think was in the IDW crossover comic a while back.
I think when we talked about it, that was one of the things that I highlighted was, oh man, the Ecto's a freaking Transformer now.
Yeah.
So
going into Funko.
On page 69.
Nice.
That's just an awesome Kingpin. Look at this Kingpin.
Oh,
Scott, I know you
yeah,
hate
yeah.
him. Look how great that Kingpin is. It's a first appearance Kingpin. It's got these giant, drawn with a fat Sharpie eyebrows. It's great.
I feel like the only thing is it should be one of the bigger scale pops.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
that's
Like,
the only
they do.
thing I was gonna say too. You got this giant Thanos
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
other side. Why do we not have a
Yeah.
giant Kingpin? That would have been so cool. Maybe we'll get one later. But I'm happy first of all that I'm getting a Kingpin. That's pretty cool.
Right.
But yeah, that's really cool.
So going back a little bit here in the Funko section, I want to bring something up that I don't feel has been addressed.
Is it that there is? Go ahead.
So we have some Fantastic Four products, and it is listed as inspired by the new Marvel Fantastic Four movie. This is on page 63. These are like little blind bag figures they have. And then, again, on page 68, we have the Pop Marvel Fantastic Four vinyl figures inspired by the new Marvel Fantastic Four movie. Collect all of your favorite heroes and villains with familiar Funko flair. What Fantastic Four movie are they talking about?
I'm going to assume that they're talking about Fant Four Stick, as I like to call it, which is the last one that they made.
These are not indicative of those designs from that movie.
Does anybody think that all of those people are going to be in a Marvel FF movie either?
No.
Mole Man, Surfer, Doctor Doom, Super Skrull, Galactus, and
But they weren't in the Trank one either, you know. So is this just somebody at Funko was like, I don't know what these are. It's probably that they're probably doing a movie, and so just type that up. But like, how does that happen twice in the catalog? That seems really weird. And it's like, and I'm not. I
Same
don't
intern writes all the copy.
right. But it's just like
That is weird.
It seems so weird, and
I did not catch
and I haven't heard it addressed anywhere.
Meanwhile, there is a Dune movie coming, and we've got Funkos of the '80s Dune
Right. And I'm not saying there won't ever be another Fantastic Four movie because, of
there
course,
100% will.
Marvel will
there
figure it
will,
out.
yeah.
But I can't believe that it leaked out through a Funko ad. You know what I mean? So it's
My
like, what's
only
the
gripe-
explanation for
My
that?
only gripe that the Trank movies are not going to continue is that I liked saying Fant Four Stick because that's the way he spelled it, and I really wanted the next one to be called Fant Five Stick. the 5 would be the S, man.
Right. Yeah, I get it. Hope you're proud of yourself.
I am.
On 97, we have the Predator Invisible Jungle Hunter figure. It's a previous exclusive where it's just, an all clear plastic invisible Predator. So
Blister pack with nothing in it. Nothing.
You're right.
Never mind.
Oh, yeah. The Invisible Kid action figure. On 100, we have the Transformers Optimus Prime deluxe scale figure, and guess this is from the Bumblebee movie that came out not too long ago. And it's a really nice design, sort of a real G1 kind of specific Optimus Prime. Better than we got in the Bay movies, for sure, as far as like style of Optimus Prime.
It's on a high hurdle
Right.
here, man.
Again, $200 figure, and it says 33 points, 53 points of articulation. Okay. I thought it said 33.
As opposed to the 80 ones. The 80s ones
Yeah.
0 points.
Well,
of
I was thinking
articulation.
if you have a pretty low number of articulation points, that means it doesn't transform into a vehicle. That's what I
or
was
if it
concerned
does,
about.
man, it's difficult.
Yeah. 108, we have some new Toon Tubblers from DC. We have a Bane where it's the Kelly Jones cover where he's breaking Batman's back.
I am buying it. I think my name is buying in the catalog.
And they had to show two of them in the catalog so that you can see the whole
So you
image.
can see the
Yeah.
On 110, what do you think about the vinyl 15-inch right hand of Doom bank?
I wish the slot wasn't right where it is. I feel like there's a better way to hide that.
Yeah, I agree.
But
It should be like in the
otherwise-
palm or something.
or like
You're
in
gonna have it
between the
turned
fingers at the
you're
top
gonna
or
have it
something,
turned
maybe.
around. Now,
Yeah.
as a giant James Bond fan, on
Mm-hmm.
the next page, how willing are you to buy this Golden Gun replica for the value price of $800.
I feel like I could make one that works cheaper than that.
100%.
When I got super excited when I saw this,
I know,
until I saw the price point.
I knew you did. I was doing the same thing. I flipped through and I was like, "Oh, I hope Dan saw it. Never mind."
Yeah.
Like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah, and
That's stupid money.
You assemble it like he does in the movie and everything. It looks
It's
like
really cool.
Yeah, it
It's
is not
just-
$800 cool.
It is not a quarter of that cool.
My first car when I was 16, and it's been a while now, $400. So that's two of those.
Yeah.
For a gun that doesn't work.
My first car cost more than that,
Right.
but not substantially more than that, and not very much more than this gun.
Yeah.
That does not shoot bullets
Right.
or kill people with one hit like in the game.
Yeah.
I'm actually more excited about that.
But again, that's
Mondo Cthulhu. TV
yeah,
leg, which is-
that's indicative of James Bond merchandise in general,
Is
though.
it?
It's always higher end stuff, and it's like, who's buying this?
Is it
You know what
actually
I mean?
gold plated?
no, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Oh, it says 24 karat gold plated
Okay.
component parts.
Is it really?
That's
Oh,
what it
okay.
says here.
I didn't catch that.
I mean, they better do something to make it. It better
$800.
look like the movie version.
I mean,
if
how about
you're
this? How about you send me a
dropping that
cheaper
much.
one that you spray painted, and I'll be happy with that.
Right.
I assure you, the movie version not made of solid gold.
Yeah,
either.
for sure. On 113, we have the Mystery Science Theater 3000 complete Clowns in the Sky soundtrack double LP. It's a vinyl picture disc with a new Steve Vance cover, who's done all the DVD covers for years now. And on 116, we have some more graphic comic boxes. I think these are all ones they've had before, but we've got the Superman Action Comics 1000. We have I think that's Black Panther #1 from a while ago, Web Warriors, and then the Jim Lee X-Men #1. Again, Jim Lee doing a lot of Marvel work these days. So that's in there. I think I got like one other thing in here maybe. Oh, yeah, so in the game section, we've got DC Hero Clicks, and it's the Justice League Unlimited series from the cartoon. And like it's
How
definitely
timely.
I know. And it's like it's on model. You can tell like specific episodes here, but it's just like,
That's so weird.
why are we doing that now? HeroClix has been
Also-
around for long enough. They
Also,
could have done
aren't
it back
you
then.
Continually stunned that HeroClix is still a thing.
Yeah.
Not
Like
to rag HeroClix.
I liked
mean,
I liked playing it back in the day, but I haven't for years.
I love tabletop games. I love miniature games. But any licensing, the same reason, and he doesn't listen to this, so we can just talk about Andy. Customer and friend of the store, Andy, is every time there is a new superhero licensed game, card game, whatever, he's always like, "You want to play? We can do." And I always tell him no, because licensed games like that crank through all of the iterations of each character they can so quickly, and then the game dies. Because
Yeah.
you can only put Wolverine's in this set, and then the next
Right.
one you're like, okay, Spider-Man's in this one, and then eventually you run out of like marquee characters you
Right.
can put in, and then you start doing like, it's Savage Land Wolverine, it's Black Costume Spider-Man. Well, okay, fine, but eventually you get down to like Armored Spider-Man, and
Right.
it's not quite the same. And how has HeroClix not hit that limit, right?
Right. Well,
they haven't.
This is what they're doing. They're doing the Justice League Unlimited animated series versions.
I'm just really, and I'm not in any way, if there are people out there like, I love HeroClix, and I'm sure
Right.
there are. I'm not making fun of HeroClix.
Yeah.
I'm just baffled that it's got to be like the longest running licensed tie-in game, right?
Probably.
As far as like
I was
collectible
I was
goes?
still in school when it came out.
They had their
I was in
10-year
college.
anniversary
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 years ago, so it's been like
Is that
13
it?
I think
I
so.
thought- I worked
Wow, I
here.
thought it was
I
way longer
worked
than
here when
that.
they came out, so that's why I started to say I was in college the second time. But maybe it was when I had just graduated. It's like 2006 or something like that.
Well, I mean, that
No,
would
it's
be-
it's got to be before that.
It's
Does
at
it?
least, it's
Yeah,
at least
absolutely.
2006 because I stopped working here.
Because I remember
in
where I was working
2007.
too, and it was definitely before then.
Okay. Well, one thing they have is they have both the Marvel and the DC,
Yeah.
and then they also do
sure.
and they also do products for like indie things. So they've done Turtles, and they
They
tie
have the
that into
Hellboy
the
ones.
superheroes.
Yeah.
Hellboy ones.
Those
But the
horror
fact
ones
that
they were doing for a
still
while.
make Marvel and DC ones.
Yeah.
They don't have that many costume changes on that many characters that you can be like, it's the Rebirth version.
Well,
Okay,
I know
and
they
then
I
what?
know they did Dark Knight Returns or Dark Knight Strikes Again Batman and stuff like that back in the day too, you know. And they did Dark Side Superman and things like that.
What a time to be alive.
I know, right?
All right, Scott, get
So
your usual
yeah,
close
so we got our blank covers. We got Giant Size X-Men, Jean Grey and M Frost 1, Savage Dragon 250, Flash 750, Green Lantern Season 2 #1, Van Helsing versus the League of Monsters #1, Conspiracy Area 51 #1, Carson of Venus, Fear on Four Worlds one. Dr. Tomorrow has a bug cover. I know you're going to pick that one up. And the Yang Gang #1. So I don't. And a lot of those books we didn't even mention, right? So
I don't know what the Yang Gang is, but I'm going to look it up because again,
Yeah.
that's a funny
it
title.
doesn't look that good to me. So
It's the company that does the Donald Who Laughs Trump stuff.
Oh yeah, never
Yeah.
mind. It's that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
So who's got a book that they're really looking forward to? You got to pick one.
I'm really looking forward to the Craig Yo Free Comics book.
Okay.
I think that'll be interesting. I have a bunch of crazy giveaway comics from back in the day and stuff like that. I'd like to see a more comprehensive history of that stuff.
I'm gonna go with Die Volume 2 just because this is one I'm reading in the trades, so I'm anxious to get to the second volume of that. So Die Volume 2 is the one I'm really looking forward to reading.
In a weird way, I'm excited about Second Coming getting a trade, not because I haven't read them, because I have. I've bought 2 copies of every issue, and then I buy it in digital, and I'm going to buy that trade because I'm going to loan that trade to people and make them read it.
Yep.
So I'm excited to have the trade because instead of saying, you can log into my Comixology and read it, I can be like, here, take this, and give it to people. I'm not going to read it. I've already read it, but I'm excited to have it. As far as like actual books on the shelf, honestly, we didn't even talk about it, but I'm probably most excited to have more Hill House. Plunge #1, which is the second book that Joe Hill's actually doing, is in this. So I'm pretty happy about that. I didn't mention it because I was just like, this book's coming out and it good. Book is good. Should read book. Like I don't have anything particularly deep to say. But what's your investment book?
I got 2.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is The Long Shot. It's going to be incredibly worthless, or it could be something eventually. But that Aquaman 57. Well, the Aquaman 57, right,
good.
where you get, you're going to have an Aqua baby. So depending on if that actually
God, it
has
sounds
an
like
impact,
an old timey medical condition.
yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, but I wasn't going to say it. But I thought, Dan, that's not the term for them.
But the other one I'm going to go with is Bang from Matt Kent. I think that's going to be all it takes again, and this is my
I
thing
wish
every
the
month.
title was Bang from Matt Kent because that would be a very different book. I'd be like, wow, he's taking it into some really weird territory.
So what do you got, or Dan? What do you got?
I'm think they're obviously setting it up for a movie, so I'm gonna go Dr. Tomorrow #1. That's definitely the book to invest in.
I feel the sarcasm oozing here.
This is 100% legit.
Yeah.
My investment book is Alienated #1, just because of Boom's track record, and that's a pretty good pedigree on the recommendations.
On the Stump, because you mentioned that one too. So
Uh-oh.
I think On the Stump will be one of those. Oh well, I hope that it becomes one of those underappreciated gems. I hope it's just really successful because it looks funny. But I think the most likely outcome is one of those things that we're like, oh man, not enough people read that, and it like it's talked about in that regard. It's possible to just be like, oh, that book, like what was a Shirtless Bear Fighter?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Shirtless Bear Fighter was real funny for 1 or 2 issues, and then it was like, when's this over? But I stand by Shirtless Bear Fighter 1 and 2. It's pretty damn funny. So that's kind of where I feel like On the Stump is in that range where the concept is funny and I like it. How long that concept can remain funny without just being
the same story over and over.
The other thing is then it stops being a parody of a thing and it just becomes that thing.
And do you care about that book in 2021? You know what I mean?
It depends on how that election goes.
Yeah.
All right. We done?
We done.
I think so.
All right.
So we will reconvene shortly. When the next time we come back, we've got Rise of Skywalker to discuss, plus the ending of Watchmen, plus I berate everybody about not watching Castle Rock, like I do every time when we shut the microphones off.
Mandalorian.
We got the Mandalorian. Should be maybe not done, but it'll be
pretty close.
It'll be within spitting distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you said we got some trailers.
We got Black Widow and Wonder Woman 1984. I guess we could even talk about the James Bond trailer if anybody's interested. So
I lost that too.
I thought there was something else that just came out too.
Yeah, well then
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Hot take. I just don't need more Ghostbusters in my life. I just told somebody this the other day. Like, I didn't see the female one, not because I was offended that there were female Ghostbusters, but I just, in the time between 1989 and now, I did not say to myself, man, I wish they'd give me more Ghostbusters.
Right.
I just, it's fine. It feels like an 80s property to me, and I don't need it updated. I don't know why that is.
Well,
I have no problem with them trying to do it.
You can't let stuff sleep like that.
Well, you can.
you know. So
You can.
you end up with it as a period piece, like the Shadow and the Phantom, and
or you end
know,
up
that
making
kind of
Charlie's
thing.
Angels, and it tanked.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because you
So-
own an IP that was one time valuable doesn't mean
Right.
you need to continuously try it back out.
Yeah.
Now, look, I think by all accounts, the new one's probably going to be funny, and I'm sure it'll be fine. And I think the all-female one was probably funny, and it was fine. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those, it's not for me, but nothing's for everybody, and I'm fine
Right.
with that kind of things. But I feel like it's supposed to appeal to me, but I don't care.
Right.
I think we might pick a Christmas comic book to talk about as well. So who knows? We got a lot of options for our next podcast. So.
We do. And we'll have it, I don't know, somewhere over Christmas break. Yeah. We're still trying to figure out how that's going to work out. As it stands, we can't do a week from today is probably too soon. And 2 weeks from today,
It's Christmas
I
Eve.
feel like
Yeah.
maybe
There's something
Scott,
going on.
Scott, at the very least, will have some obligations.
I could record the morning. I just can't record the evening. So anyway, we can talk about that out off air. So yeah, we can figure
We'll
that out.
figure that out at a later
We'll figure
date.
that out.
Soon.
But the important thing to remember is December 18th is when you need to have your orders in for this catalog.
Exactly.
Correct. And let's be honest, you need to be here on December 18th anyway because Doomsday Clock 12 comes in. And don't act like you don't want to know how it ends. So come in, buy Doomsday Clock, and tell Mike you want to order some stuff. That's the answer.
There you
right
go.
there.
And if you want to be sure you get any of these books we talked about, you need to come in and you need to put it on a pull list here at Campus Comics. So, all right, Dan, where can they find you?
They can find me online at Detective651 on my Twitter and Instagram, MIT Public Store.
Where he sells them behind Arby's if you're looking for the stuff that's been,
So
cease and
get
desist.
them quick because they're going fast.
Yeah, if you see something you like, get it sooner than later. Scott Reed, you can find me at birdcomics.com, BURGcomics.com, and on Facebook and eBay and all kinds of places.
And Matt Martin is at Wookiee Copilot, WOOKIECOPILOT, on literally everything. Well, not literally, but close. When's this over?